with 17 more years, can always start again. Get a new chair. I am excited to be doing this review of season 2. I got to say, this is no intellectual video essay about the show. Might do that at some point. There should be a drinking game for how many times I'm going to use that. Gotta take a shot anytime the... So, I gotta stop doing that. Returns for season 2. Well, I did back in November. Then there was a break. A break I was completely fine with. No, animators matter. They evidently put a lot of work into this show, or anything they work on. With the ambition of a lot of modern day animated projects, it is evident that they are overworked. So it is important that they get the time they need to master their craft and really create magic, because without them we wouldn't have the visuals to accompany the amazing writing of these shows and movies that we now get within the world of animation, that has really elevated the world of animation to a higher level of respect within media in general. So animators would be lost without you. Thank you. I'm glad you got the break, the time you need to work on, I think, the rest of this season, the summer season 3, so we get that sooner, which is great. So after the long wait, comes back to graces in case somehow you missed it. Season 1 of this show is immense. It's fantastic. Genuinely one of the best seasons of TV I think I've ever seen, and really made this show a must watch for me and for so many people. I spend not a lot, but part of my spare time convincing people to watch, oh god, my camera's bit today, to watch season 1 of this show. I'm gonna have to finish this paragraph quickly before I have to turn my camera. And anytime I try to convince somebody, they always turn around to me and go, I'm not watching that. It's animated. Shut up. Sort yourself out. If you say that in the modern era that we're in, that you're not going to watch a thing or a show because it's animated, what are you doing? You're missing out on some great stuff. And that's your fault. You can't blame me, and you can't blame anybody else that's told you to watch it because of how great it is. That's on you. You're number 1 in the ops list. Not number 1, but you're high up there. You're high up on the ops list, my friend. High up on the ops list. I'm going to have to stop now so my camera doesn't die. Just like how my camera died there, and I left you all on a big cliffhanger. Season 1 left us on a big cliffhanger too. And I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but it's a bit difficult. A lot of people knows what happened at the end of season 1. It's quite iconic now for a very solid reason, because it is iconic itself. It's a great end in season 1, and it really sets up season 2 to be fantastic, spectacular. Does it? Well, let's get into this. Season 2, let's do it. Major spoilers, by the way. Big time major spoilers for this whole thing. I would put a time code, but there's probably no point, because this whole thing from here on out is gonna just spoil season 2 if you haven't watched it yet. You have been warned. Bear that in mind. Let's do the first 4 episodes. The first 3 episodes of season 2, to me, is the weakest run of episodes in the whole series so far, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad. I actually still think they're good episodes. But this season, to me, doesn't come flying out of the gate. It eases you back in, which isn't a terrible thing to do. It actually works effectively. We find Mark at the start of the season reflecting and processing what happened at the end of season 1. That Karma Police segment is fantastic. We get reintroduced to some major characters, and the opening episode of this is a very strong start. You see, the start of this episode gives us a glimpse into what could have happened at the end of season 1 had things gone differently. And that's such an interesting thing to see, as it really gives us a glimpse into other worlds that exist within this dimension of Invincible, these other dimensions where these different things have happened. And it's an interesting Elseworld scenario that we get to look at. We get to contrast and parallel between the Mark of that world and the Mark that we follow in the show. But this episode also introduces us to an extremely important character, that being Angstrom Levy, played by the fantastic and wickedly talented Sterling K. Brown. Angstrom Levy is the main threat of season 2, but unlike Omni-Man, who we know is responsible for the events of season 1, so there's sort of this undertone of development that we know where this is going to go and how this is inevitably going to end. With the season, with Angstrom Levy, it's a bit more unpredictable. He is clear with his motivations. He wants to kill Mark, but we don't know what he is capable of or why he wants to do this to Invincible in a way. So this makes his interactions and his teasing that much more interesting because we don't know when he's going to strike or how he's going to strike. He also provides a different sort of challenge for Mark, as he's a lot more intellectual than Nolan / Omni-Man from the first season, who was intellectual but was much more of a brute physical enemy antagonist for Mark to go up against. Angstrom Levy is more articulate and calculated because of his high intelligence. Another important character who gets a moment to shine in the first 3 episodes of this season is Alan, the alien. Alan has a much larger role in this season than in the first, and I feel his role is only going to get bigger as the show goes on. He gets entire segments dedicated to him, and we get to understand more what he is and what he does and why he exists and why he's important to this storyline. He also has a great friendship with goddamn Optimus Prime, but the thing about Optimus Prime in this is that we don't know if we trust him or not. The jury's still out on him. The sections with Alan silently set up, I think, more storylines to come, and he comes in and out of this season at points, and then when he does come in, it's always for a reason, and it's never just there for the sake of having Alan there. He's a very important factor in this story. Episode 2 is a solid one. So is 3. I don't remember too heavily what happened there. I remember bits and bobs of it. But episode 3 leaves us on a major cliffhanger, reintroducing Omni-Man and showing us that man was getting busy. Woo. Episode 4 is truly the first masterful episode of season 2. Wow. The opening of this episode, we follow Nolan. After the events of season 1, we find him flying aimlessly around space, not sure of his direction or why he did what he did, or why he didn't follow through with the thing he's done so many times in his past and conquered Earth. I also love how the images, they match perfectly in parallel with Debbie and creates a clear connection between the two that's still there and still not broken between these two characters in the story. They both seem lost and they're both considering doing terrible things, but Nolan is given a lifeline, a chance to save people again, and he takes it. I think the most interesting aspect of this episode is the dynamic between Mark and Nolan, also their inner conflicts. There is a parallel between them. They both are conflicted over this current situation. Mark is conflicted about seeing his father again after the events that just happened to him, obviously nearly killing him. And Nolan is conflicted over the feelings he has towards Mark and the people of Earth and the people of the planet that he currently rules, because he cares for them when he knows he shouldn't, utilizing and helping us understand the change in his character and his development. And some fighting ensues. It's great. It's really good. I really enjoyed seeing Mark not hold back and seeing what he's truly capable of, because that's something we haven't got to see often or at all yet, really. But then Nolan gets gravely injured and is captured by the Viltrumites to be taken to be executed, and Mark is told to prepare for the invasion, a scene for later in the season and the show. Then there was the break. The final 4 episodes, the next few episodes, are important episodes, but not for Mark and his story, but for the stories of the other characters. You see, season 2 juggles a lot of stories, and I believe it does that successfully. I've got a big list here. I don't think I've hit all of them. There's probably some or whatever I missed, but there's a lot of stories. Buckle in, strap in. This is everything season 2 goes into as far as the characters. We have Eve rethinking her place as a superhero, Debbie coping with the events of season 1, Rex in his journey of maturity, Robot and Monster Girl, love subplot, the Martian dude, there's more, Immortal and Duplicate love subplot, Alan and his adventures, Omni-Man and his conflicted mindset, that guy that turned into like that robot zombie thing in that one episode, he's back and he's got trauma. Amber and her relationship with Mark and her place in that. Levi Angstrom turning up just to say he wants to kill. I got you again. And Donald, shout out to Donald. Donald got his own subplot. Why not? Okay. I like Donald. Donald's pretty good, actually. I don't know. I feel like when I see him, I could just get back to the superheroes, but he's chill dude. He seems a chill dude. There's probably a few I'm forgetting, as I said, but I genuinely believe the only character without a change in this season is Cecil. He remains as this sort of overlord figure and is probably the only character that has a finger in every subplot, and I think that works fantastically for his character, and Walter Goggins, who voices him, is just brilliant. I have to get into the voice actors as well, because all of them are just top tier. Stephen Ewan is fast becoming one of my favorite actors, and I can't wait to see him do more. Minari, Beast, he was good in Nope, he's great in this. I really, really hope this man keeps going and going and going and gets bigger and bigger, because I'm a big fan of this guy. Sandra Ho is great this season as Debbie. She's a very talented actress, and I think she really gets moments to shine here. I liked Seth Rogen as Alan. I think he voices that character very well. It's an interesting way that Seth Rogen is used, because he doesn't really be Seth Rogen. He's a very straight man in a way, but he still has that sort of silliness to him. As he beats as Amber, great. That's one thing they really, really improved on, was Amber and her relationship with Mark this season, because she was arguably one of the more annoying parts of season 1, and I think they've done a great job in really fleshing out a character and making her more understandable of Mark's circumstance and situation, and really building their relationship and making it more interesting than it was in the first season. I really cared for the relationship this season more than they did in the first, and that's evident they did a great improvement on that. J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man, yeah, great, no doubt about it. Gillian Jacobs as Eve was great too, but I really, really liked, I don't know how to say his second name, I had to Google it. I'm gonna go Jason Mantzoukas, I think that's how he said it. He is really good as Rex this season. Rex gets moments to shine here in his journey as a character, and I think Jason Mantzoukas really does a great job of portraying that, and I think he gets to do a performance that he usually really wouldn't get to do, because the performance and the way he is as Rex in the first season is more traditional to what that actor would do, but in this one he gets moments of honesty and really gets to flex his talents. I don't think he gets to flex often, so I really liked him in this season as well. But obviously the first few episodes of the show since the break does a good job of balancing all these subplots and really developing them and developing these characters, with Mark sort of being a background character and being involved in a few of them, many of them, but he doesn't take the limelight unless these characters shine, which is great for the development of the world of this show. Then we get to episode 7. The focus here returns to Mark, and particularly on the relationship with Amber. The one that I talked about was improved so much. And then Anissa, whoa, this is a brilliant moment. It really shows how powerful the Viltrumites can be compared to Mark. Anissa whoops this man's ass. He gets his ass whooped a lot in this season, actually. It happens quite a lot in this whole show, to be honest. And that's one Viltrumite nearly killed Mark, and there's an invasion coming apparently. So it really makes the Viltrumites more formidable as far as the show is concerned. But this episode also ends with Mark and Amber's relationship ending. Woohoo, let's go! I'm only joking. I'm joking. As I said, I actually think they greatly improved their relationship this season, and their relationship ending was quite an emotional scene and well acted by both actors in that moment. I think we can all agree that she was greatly improved, and I think it provides a genuine care, which makes the end of that episode much more impactful. And it's a good prerequisite to the last episode. I thought you were stronger. The final episode. What a finale, folks. Holy shit. This is one of my favorite episodes of the show. Maybe my favorite episode of the show. This is possibly the best character episode of the entire show. This episode is about Mark through and through. Just like the final episode of last season in a way, although it did have the Omni-Man arc as well. The episode doesn't have the heightened stakes of the last one, but it has more heightened personal stakes for Mark due to the threat of his family from Angstrom Levy. There is some resolutions to subplots in this episode, yes, but they really take a back seat. There are more moments of breadth in Mark's storyline. Angstrom Levy proves a formidable adversary for Mark. His dimension hopping abilities are an interesting twist and a new challenge for Mark, and really make for some interesting visual and fun elements to the episode. We see him speaking of dinosaurs, Batman, Spider-Man. Agent Spider. He goes to Fortnite. Why not? The fact they made that Fortnite collab an aspect of the storyline is so impressive. Respect to them for doing that. That just shows how great of a show this is. But enough of the fun stuff. The second half of this episode is immense. When Mark comes back and sees what Angstrom did to Debbie and just snaps, it's so brilliant. My god. The flying through the dimensions, fighting each other, brutally killing Angstrom the same way that Nolan brutally attacked Mark. But Mark goes that extra mile where Nolan could stop himself and control himself to stop him from killing his son. Mark isn't able to, and the fact that he brutally kills Angstrom and we don't see the aftermath makes that much more impactful to me, because this is a very violent show already, and the fact we don't get the image of Angstrom's face just makes you think, what the hell did Mark do to him? Truly. And I think that puts in Mark's mind that he is worse than Nolan, and that has been the running thing of this season. This is a season of parallels. I mentioned it a few times. There's a lot of parallels for characters compared to other events that happened to them earlier in the season or in the previous one, and Mark really runs this parallel with Omni-Man in this season. And the whole idea of Mark's character arc this season is that he doesn't want to be like his father. He's not him. He doesn't want to be him. And that final moment with his mother where he says he has to be better is him accepting that he needs to be better than his father in the grand scheme of things. And that's brilliant because Mark comes to this realization after killing Ekstrom and giving his best Kratos impression. He's then saved by the future version of the Guardians of the Globe, and Adam Eve drops that bombshell. No doubt people punching the air, people say that going, yes, finally. Then Mark goes home. He has a conversation with Eve, but it sets up a romance to develop between the two of them, and that conversation with his mother that I previously mentioned, and the episode ends. Presumably Mark's episode ends because we go to space. I know people are disappointed we didn't get the prison break this episode at the end of the season. I kind of am too. I thought that's what it was setting up for and they didn't do it, but I look forward to it in season 3. Nolan drops possibly the hardest line of the whole season with the "I miss my wife."
And yet... What? What is it? I think...
I miss my wife, Tails.
That one line tells us so much about Nolan's character, despite barely being in this season. Having one full episode and brief appearances, really. After that, this one line directly parallels his outlook from the first season where he calls Debbie a pet. And it clearly establishes the change in Omni-Man and his feelings towards people who he would view as lesser than him. This is a fantastic season of TV. Does it hit the heights of season 1? No. But this season is amazing and is a strong example of fantastic character writing within a TV show environment. An important stepping stone for the larger story of Invincible and the characters within it on their own personal journeys. I do admit that characters like Nolan and Eve don't get as much screen time this season, but they're set up to be major players in season 3. And I look forward to that. But what this season does for Mark's character is beyond important, and I look forward to see where his character goes from here. So that's that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you when I see you. This is a great show. I really think you guys should watch it. It's called Invincible. Sorry you didn't hear me. It's called